Giving an AI agent a body. A modern AI can reason, plan, and converse, yet it cannot feel a cup, lift it, or know that it slipped. This lecture is about the apparatus that closes that gap, sensing, action, and the loop between them. A brilliant mind with no hands. A language model is a disembodied policy. It maps text to text. It has no sensors reporting the state of the world, and no actuators to change it. So it cannot be wrong in a way the world corrects. No perception. It receives tokens, not a live stream of where things are right now. No action. It can describe lifting a cup, but it cannot apply 0.7 newtons of grip and adjust when the cup slips. No loop. Intelligence in the physical world is a cycle, not a single forward pass. To give an agent a body is to close that cycle in a real or realistic world. 5 moves, mind to matter. Theory, what a body is and why it changes the nature of the intelligence. Literature, from cybernetics to symbolic AI, to behavior-based robotics, to foundation models. Anatomy, the engineering stack. Morphology, actuation, sensing, control, data. Frontier, vision language action models and humanoids in 2026. Build, bringing your own arm, motors, and controllers to life. What do we mean by a body? A body is whatever couples sensing to action in a world. Embodiment is a spectrum, not a binary. The physical robot is one end of it. Software body, an agent that reads files, calls APIs, clicks a browser. It senses and acts on a digital world. Simulated body, an avatar with simulated sensors and joints inside a physics engine. Cheap, fast, safe, infinite. Robot body, real morphology, motors and sensors. Subject to friction, noise, latency, gravity, and consequences. The principles are shared across all 3. The physics is only unforgiving in the last one. The sensorimotor loop. Embodied intelligence runs as a tight cycle. The body is the hardware that joins the 2 halves of it. Perceive. Cameras, touch, and joint encoders report the state of the body and world. Decide. The policy maps that state to an action. Act. Motors apply torques and the world changes. Repeat. At 50 to 1,000 hertz, the new state feeds back in. Cognition is shaped by the body. The classical view treated the mind as a CPU. Perception writes a world model. Reasoning runs on it. Commands come out. The embodiment hypothesis disagrees. The body and environment are part of the computation, not just its input and output. Classical cognitivism. Sense, build a symbolic model, plan, act. Intelligence lives entirely in the central representation. Embodied cognition. Intelligence is situated and embodied. Meaning is grounded in sensorimotor experience, and the body offloads work the brain would otherwise do. 5 ideas that carry the field. Situatedness. The world models itself. Don't store what you can resense. Brooks. The world is its own best model. Morphological computation. The body computes. Pfeiffer and Bongard. Clever mechanics. Compliance, tendons, passive dynamics. Do work the controller skips. Affordances. Perceive for action. Gibson. We see a handle as graspable. Perception is tuned to what the body can do. Sensorimotor contingency. Seeing is doing. O'Regan and Noe. To perceive is to master how sensations change as you move. Symbol grounding. Where meaning starts. Harnad. Symbols mean nothing until tied to sensorimotor experience. The thread. Take the body seriously, and intelligence stops being a brain in a vat. Moravec's paradox. The things that feel hard to humans, chess, calculus, logic, turned out to be easy for machines. The things that feel effortless, walking, grasping, seeing, are the hardest of all. 1 billion years of evolution tuned our sensorimotor systems. Abstract reasoning is a thin, recent veneer. That inversion is why bodies are the frontier. 70 years, 3 turns. From 1948 to 1960, cybernetics, feedback as the first principle. Wiener, Ashby, and Gray Walter's light-seeking tortoises, machines that behave without modeling. Through the 1960s to the 80s, symbolic AI, sense, model, plan, act. Powerful in clean domains, brittle and slow in the messy physical world. In 1991, the embodied turn, Brooks, intelligence without representation. Behavior-based reactive robots that act fast by skipping the world model. In 2006, the body as computer, Pfeiffer and Bongard formalized morphological computation, self-modeling, soft and compliant machines. From 2015, deep reinforcement learning plus simulation, learned locomotion and dexterity. Domain randomization crosses the sim-to-real gap, imitation learning scales from demonstrations. From 2022 foundation models, one brain, many bodies. Web-scale knowledge poured into vision, language, action policies. Why representation-heavy robots stalled? By the 1980s, robots that built a careful symbolic map, planned over it, then acted were too slow and too fragile for a changing world. Rodney Brooks proposed the opposite. Subsumption stacks simple sense-act behaviors. Avoid, wander, explore. Competence emerges from their interaction. No central planner. The lasting lesson, couple perception tightly to action and let the world supply the details. Today's end-to-end policies inherit this instinct with learning added back in. What you actually build. A body is a layered system. Each layer is a design decision with real trade-offs. Morphology, form, degrees of freedom, rigid versus compliant. Actuation, motors, gearing, power, how torque reaches the joints. Sensing, exteroception plus proprioception. Control, the real-time loop that keeps it stable. Policy, the brain, classical, learned, or both. Data engine, how the policy learns to act. Sim to real, training cheaply, deploying safely. Safety and human-robot interaction, sharing space with people. Morphology and actuation. Form follows function, and good mechanics make control easier. A compliant joint absorbs a bad contact the controller would otherwise have to predict. Degrees of freedom, more reach and dexterity, but more to coordinate, power, and pay for. How it moves. Servos, series elastic, tendon-driven, hydraulic. Backdrivability buys safe contact. The honest limit, torque density and battery life quietly bound everything a mobile body can do. Why humanoid? The world is built for human bodies, and human video is the largest available demonstration set. Sensing, outward and inward. Exteroception, the world. RGB and depth cameras, LiDAR, microphones, and tactile skin. Touch is the open frontier. Dexterity is mostly a contact problem. Proprioception, the self, joint encoders, an inertial measurement unit, and force torque sensing. The body must know its own configuration before it can act on anything else. Perception is not a snapshot. It's the half of the loop that tells action whether it worked. Where the intelligence lives. Control is layered by timescale. The modern pattern borrows Kahneman's split, a slow, deliberate System 2 and a fast, reflexive System 1. Figures Helix, Google's Gemini Robotics, and physical intelligence's Pi models all separate a vision-language reasoner from a high-frequency motor policy. The data engine, language models had the internet. Robots don't. There is no web-scale corpus of actions. So building the data pipeline is the hard, decisive part of building a body. Teleoperation. A human drives the robot. Every demonstration is gold standard. Human video. Egocentric footage, retargeted onto the robot. Simulation. Millions of cheap, parallel, perfectly labeled trials. World models. Generative engines, such as NVIDIA Cosmos, synthesize new trajectories. Then fleet learning. Every deployed robot's experience improves the shared policy. Sim to real. Train where mistakes are free, deploy where they aren't. The obstacle is the reality gap. Simulated friction, mass and light never quite match the world. Physics engines, MuJoCo, NVIDIA, Isaac Sim, Genesis, GPU parallel, photoreal, hardware in the loop. Domain randomization, vary the physics and visuals every episode, so reality looks like just another variation. Digital twin, real to sim to real. Scan the real setup into simulation, train against it, deploy back. Close the gap from both sides. One brain, many bodies. Vision language action models are robotics foundation model moment. A single network reads a camera and a sentence and emits joint commands. Across different robots it was never retrained for. The lineage, RT2, Open X-Embodiment, OpenVLA, Pi 0, NVIDIA GR00T, Helix, Gemini Robotics. In production pilots, Figure 03 at BMW Spartanburg, Agility Digit, Moving Totes at GXO and Amazon, Unitree shipping at volume, 1X Neo aimed at the home. The honest caveat, demos outrun reliability. Today's deployed humanoids work in narrowed, engineered tasks. Data scarcity, dexterity, battery life, cost, and safety are all still open. Open problems, dexterity and touch. Contact-rich manipulation and real tactile sensing remain brittle. Long horizons, hours of reliable self-correcting autonomy, not 30-second clips. Data and the gap, scarce action data, the reality gap that never fully closes. Generalization, one policy across bodies, objects, and rooms it has never seen. Energy and cost, torque density, battery life, and a price that makes sense. Safety and trust, certification, legibility, and being safe to share a room with. Bring your own arm to life. You already have the body, an arm with motors and controller boards. That's the hard physical half. What's missing is the loop. Perception in, learned action out. The goal, a language conditioned pick and place that learns from your own demonstrations and then runs on its own. The whole lecture in miniature on your desk. Camera and encoders perceive, your motors act, your laptop or Jetson is the policy. The showcase rig. A USB camera provides exteroception and the joint encoders provide proprioception. Both feed the host that runs the policy, a laptop or Jetson running LeRobot with ACT, a diffusion policy, or a VLA. The host sends joint commands over USB to your arm through its driver board and bus servos. The world changes, the sensors read the new state, and the loop closes. If your motors are VTech or Dynamixel bus servos, the open-source LeRobot stack drives this directly. Any board works, the pipeline is the same, only the motor SDK changes. 7 steps, mind to matter. 1. Bring up the motors, set the servo IDs, calibrate the joint ranges. Proprioception online. 2. Close a teleoperation loop. Drive the arm by hand, leader to follower, keyboard, or a VR controller. 3. Add a camera, a cheap USB webcam, exteroception for the policy. 4. Record demonstrations, 30 to 50 teleoperated episodes of one task, your data engine. 5. Train a policy, imitation learning, ACT, or a diffusion policy in LeRobot. 6. Deploy and evaluate. Let it run the loop autonomously, measure success honestly. 7. Add language, an OpenVLA or an LLM planner calling learned skills. System 2 on top. The lecture, made physical. A no extra cost rig on your existing hardware demonstrates every concept we covered. Not as slides, but as a body that closes its own loop. Perception to action, the sensorimotor loop, live. Proprioception, the encoders, actuation through your motors. The data engine, you generate the demonstrations yourself. Learned policy, imitation, the dominant paradigm. System 1 and System 2, a planner over fast skills. Symbol grounding, the words pick up the red block become motor torques. Where to go next? Foundations. Brooks 1991, Intelligence Without Representation, Pfeiffer and Bongard, 2006, How the Body Shapes the Way We Think, Gibson, 1979, and Harnad, 1990, Affordances and the Symbol Grounding Problem. Modern and Hands-On, Open X-Embodiment 2023, Cross-Embodiment Data and RTX, OpenVLA 2024, and Pi 0 2024. Open Vision Language Action Models, Hugging Face LeRobot, docs, datasets in the SO101, NVIDIA Isaac and GR00T, simulation and humanoid foundation models. A body is not an accessory to intelligence. For acting in the world, it is part of how the intelligence works.